Doug, some other critics, as opposed to those we just heard from Charles, had actually said that perhaps the reason these talks fell apart was because the U.S. was more interested in a photo op as opposed to actually getting down to the nitty-gritty of negotiation, being unprepared, so to speak. Is that fair?
It's fair in the sense that it absolutely was. It was a giant reality show. You know, for Donald Trump, his foreign policy is all based on bombast. It's all based on Donald Trump's sense of himself as being the invincible diplomat, the person who can forge and go places where no other U.S. president has been able to go before, just by sheer force, by sheer dint of his force of will, of his force of persuasion, his personality, that he can achieve miracles, and he can literally pull, the rabbit out of the hat time and time again. And what this summit shows is that he actually can't do that. There's actually very little surprising in what is clearly a diplomatic failure here. Let's put the spin aside, put the damage control exercise aside, and now, know when to walk away, blah, blah, blah. It's the art of the non-deal that we've seen here. And the fact of the matter is, Kim Jong-un has been extremely consistent, because if the narrative ever were that there were hopes that there would somehow be an immediate freeze on all production materials in North Korea, that there would be somehow a short-term dismantlement of its nuclear arsenal and arsenal weapons upon which the entire raison d'etre, the existence of North Korea, is based. If there was ever going to be some overnight peace declaration leading to a perhaps peace treaty on the Korean Peninsula, all of that were, in a sense, vain hopes. They were hopes that were produced by a largely false narrative. Time and again, we have said this is nothing new. Nuclear weapons, they may not be part of North Korea's official doctrine. It's not like there's something called the nuclear weapon doctrine in Pyongyang. What there are, though, is a clear reference to nuclear weapons in North Korea's constitution. They are hardwired into the DNA of North Korea's own sort of founding law, a revised constitution, but they're still in there. So having any sort of illusions that Kim would sort of disassociate himself from that arsenal very easily, it was basically just pie-in-the-sky thinking. We saw Donald Trump himself ratcheting down the rhetoric and the tone. We have come a long way since post-Singapore and those tweets where there's no more nuclear threat, the world can sleep easy, the planet is safe sort of rhetoric. We've come to basically into this summit on a footing where this was more about trying to get some sort of peace declaration, maybe trying to agree on a schedule and a timetable for gradual nuclear disarmament. But even Trump came hard up against that reality that you don't get Kim Jong-un to part ways with his nuclear weapons overnight. Maybe not even in 1 day, 2 days, 1 month, 2 months. It takes years, and he's running into the same problems that past American presidents have.
Now, Doug, of course, as